So today I want to show you a fun setup you can explore with Stepwise, having it switching between effects, adding rhythmic and glitchy movement to your effect chains. As always, I added also the ideas from this video to the PDF of tips and tricks I keep on updating. It's available on my Patreon together with the project file from this video and from many other videos. So here I have a drum loop just from a sample. Right, and the first thing we will do is we will use the FX Selector device, this one here. I will add one empty layer, just double click it and hit OK. This will be our original signal, our dry signal, so I will just name this dry. And let's add now a few effects. So for example, we can start with the bit 8. I will just manually switch this to the bit 8, and now we can quantize this a bit. Right, just make this a bit more destroyed, let's say. Right, something like this. Then maybe we can have the frequency shifter plus, maybe with some delay modulation. So again, I just switched to it. Right, let's use a 24 pole filter, add the delay, add some feedback, add some frequency shifting, right, and add here some modulation here to the delay time, maybe with a random, smooth random bipolar signal here. That may be a bit quicker. Something like this. Then maybe the filter plus with the resonant bandpass filter. Right, and again we have to switch to this layer. Let's go with this one here, bandpass. Right, I will add the internal modulation, which will be stereo, maybe a bit slower, but also I will add also random modulation, just so it's not too repetitive. Right, something like this. Right, so we have another version. And then another layer just for fun with another modulated delay, in this case with the delay plus. Right, set this to time here. And then if I click the delay plus itself, I can change, instead of a fade, I will change this to repitch again, just to get this glitchy effect. Maybe the mix will go all the way up. Right, something like this, a bit more of the highs, a bit less of the lows. Right, so it will also high pass this, maybe in stereo, a bit more feedback. Right, and then again modulate this, maybe another one of the random modulators. But also let's also freeze this every once in a while, and this we can do, for example, with the steps. Right, set this to bipolar, randomize this a bit, and this will control the freezing. Right, something like this. This is a bit loud, so I can just take the level here a bit down. And of course you can experiment with other effects, more chains, you can add more EQ if you want, distortion, stuff like this. Right, but now we have different versions. Right, including the dry version, of course. And again, we can switch between them manually, but let's set up Stepwise for this to switch between them. So here I have a dedicated track with Stepwise. And now I will route this to the FX Selector. So if I go to the FX Selector and I click on it, you can see here we have Note MIDI source. I can just select this Stepwise channel, right? Stepwise drum loop, and go with Stepwise. And now the mode here, instead of manual, we will set this to key switches. So each note will be a different layer. And in this case, you see it starts from C2. I don't know why, but I cannot take this down. But what we can do if we go to Stepwise, right, the first note here is C1. Of course, I can change this to C2, but I don't want to keep changing things. So I just enter, let's say, one note, right? And I hit here on the FX Selector MIDI learn. Right, and now it learned that it starts from C1 until E1, right? So we have C1 will be the dry signal, C#1 bit 8, D1 frequency shifter plus, and so on and so forth until E, which will be the delay plus. Right, and now we can start sequencing or enter sequences on Stepwise. Again, C1 will be our dry signal, so let's have just a few of them here. Right, and now I can have here, for example, bit 8. Right, or maybe on a different one. Right, I can also change, instead of 16th notes, I can go with 8th notes, for example. Right, and have a few more. Right, and then here maybe quarter notes. This will be the frequency shifter plus. Right? And then here maybe with fewer steps. This is the filter, the bandpass filter. Then we have here the delay. Maybe the delay will be again with 8th notes, but maybe 10 steps. Right? So now if we look at the FX Selector, you can see it's switching between the different layers here. Right, and of course you can spend more time tweaking things and finding the sweet spots here on the sequencing on Stepwise. Right, I can add even a bit more of the dry signal. Right, but basically this is the idea. You can get really interesting results just by experimenting with the different sequences. Of course, you can add more layers to this and more effect types. And this also doesn't have to be just on drums. So here I have a melody, and also here I'm using the FX Selector. You can see I have here again the dry signal and then a pitch shifter that goes up. You know what, maybe I will solo this for a second. And maybe I will disable here this Stepwise. Okay, so now let's go with the dry. Right, so this is the original melody. Then I have here pitch shifter up. And then another layer pitch shifter down. Right, then some blur effects again with pitch shifting. And then the harmony is split here with a few effects. Right, and again I have here another Stepwise, in this case, as I called it Stepwise melody, but this will be the device that will control, right, it will switch between these. Right, so this works really nicely also with melodic stuff. Doesn't have to be just on drums, doesn't have to be just glitch. In this case, it's more of a different space effects. Right, so it's just a fun technique to experiment with if you want to add some movement, some glitchiness to your tracks. Right, and that was it for today. I hope you will go and explore this fun idea. I have here a few more voices, but before I unmute them, thank you so much for watching. Cheers.